Hey friends, welcome to the Dreamers and Doers Podcast. Now, I am very excited to be back with another episode. I hope you've been well. I hope 2026 is treating you well. Now, today I want to chat with you about something very, very important, which is teachability. This is one very big thing for me in my own personal life. I mean, I've always been that kind of person who's like, man, I want people to tell me what I'm doing wrong so I can do better. Whether it's in my relationships, whether it's in business, whether it's with family. I just always want to know. And teachability, I'm not necessarily saying that I am the most teachable person, but I've always been curious to grow and just do better. But I've also seen the effects of it. I would say that maybe I might be really good in certain parts of my life in regards to teachability, but there are some that I'm not, because the reason why I think this is an important topic, especially for me to talk about, is because the area that I have felt like I have failed in teachability is areas that I felt like I was already gifted at. Like maybe I'm gifted in a specific area, and I'm like, I don't need nobody to tell me how it's done, because I already kind of have an idea what it is. It's easier to be teachable in areas that you are not gifted at. But what about the areas where you are not gifted? What about areas where you are already gifted at and you're seemingly already good at? And I realized that the times where I thought, because of my gifting in that area, I thought I didn't need to be teachable, or I didn't need to learn more, I didn't need anybody to teach me anything. It has kept me to a certain level, even in my gifting. And one thing I learned very, very quickly as I started to mature in life is that there is no end to what you can achieve in any area of your life. There is no end. No end at all. You can always grow. You can always stretch. You can always learn. There is always more to learn in whatever that you might be either good at or not so good at. And the biggest challenge is in the area where you are not actually, in the area that you are actually already good at. So let's talk about teachability. There are some people who you might see, they grow quickly, and while others stay in the same place for a very long time. I was in the city and I was looking at the buildings in our city here, and I know I have for a very long time been whitewashed living in Australia and not being able to see what Africa is really like. So in my approach in presenting this, I'm not at all saying that the architecture of Africa is not that great. But I was looking at the city and looking at the skyscrapers, looking at the buildings and all of that. And in my mind, I started comparing it to the infrastructures and buildings in Africa or other third world countries. And I started thinking to myself, like, why is it the aesthetics of Australian buildings or the city, the really good quality buildings? Oh, by the way, I believe there's quality buildings in Africa as well. I'm just trying to make a point here. But what is the difference between these and what is there in certain parts of Africa? And I started to realize that some of these buildings or the structures of these buildings aren't actually Australian. Meaning, there might have been a German architect who designed this specific building. There might have been a French architect that designed this building. And then you're like, it's very rare that you'd have Australian architects to build very historic, magnificent buildings. There was some sort of outsourcing that came into the country that beautified the country. Then I started to think to myself, so Australia had to humble itself enough to say, you know what? I may not be that great at architecture, in historic architecture, so let me go and outsource this from an architect from a completely different country to beautify my country. And I'm telling you, it takes humility for you to look outside of yourself, to get help, to improve yourself. It takes a level of humility. And the thing is, the countries that are growing faster, you look at countries like Rwanda, the countries that are growing faster, they're not growing faster because they've got the best knowledge internally, but they are growing faster because they are outsourcing knowledge. I don't know if that makes sense to you. In order for you to grow, you need to be teachable. In order for you to better your life, you need to be teachable. In order for you to better your business, you need to be teachable. And the very first thing when it comes to the teachability thing is humility. It takes a large amount of humility to humble yourself. So what is the difference between the person who after 1 month, they just skyrocket in the level of growth, and the person who it takes years and there's this slow growth? One of the very key things is humility. Humility. Being able to say that this area here, I'm not good at, so let me outsource. And also, this area here, though I am really good at, let me grow. And it takes humility for you to ask another man, for you to ask another person to train what you're already gifted at. I'm going to talk about the gift a bit later in this, but here's the thing. A lot of people want success, but not many remain teachable. You want success, but you are not willing to be teachable. So let me tell you this. You have to be able to be teachable. And teachable is you basically being you basically being willing to learn and receive correction from another source outside of yourself for you to be able to grow. And it's very rare that many people are actually willing to do this, because we live in a world where there was an episode I spoke about individualism versus community. And because we live in a world where it's me, myself, and I, it's what I can do for me, there's no community that's built around you, you think that everything that you need to accomplish comes from you. And let me tell you this, the truth of the matter is, everything that you need to be successful and arrive to the place that you need to get to is already inside of you. You are born with the full package. Everything is inside of you. You have it all inside of you. Absolutely. So when I say you need somebody outside of you to teach you, what I mean is, You need somebody outside of yourself to bring out what's inside of you. Does that make sense? You need somebody outside of yourself to bring out every single thing that your brain's capacity, the talents, the giftings that God has already instilled within you. You need somebody else outside of you to bring it out of you. And that's teachability. And this comes and is connected to education. And I know that, we live in a world where now people are saying, a lot of gurus are saying, oh, you don't need university to be successful. Well, I believe that, but I'm not part of that camp. The reason why I'm not part of that camp is because, yes, you don't need university to be successful, but you need education to be successful. So the way I say it is, regardless of how that education comes about, whether it's university, whether it's tertiary studies or other types of tertiary studies, whether it's YouTube learning, whether it's finding a mentor, whether whatever means, whether it's reading books, whatever means to educate yourself is the key to your success. It just so happens that university is part of that. If that's the path that you want to go through. So stop listening to people who say you don't need university because if they don't finish the full sentence, they're basically saying you don't need education. But the truth is you need education, because telling people that they don't need education to be successful, you are raising individualists who think they don't need anybody for them to be successful. They don't need anything to teach them anything for them to be successful. But let me tell you, your talent or your gift, it may open some doors, but I'm telling you, teachability will make sure that you go far. Let me say that again. Your talent may open doors, but teachability will make sure you go far. So you need to be able to be willing to be teachable. All right? So let me tell you why teachability matters. I just really want to continue to set a foundation for you here and tell you why teachability matters. A teachable person says, I can improve. And a teachable person says, I can learn from others. But then somebody who's not teachable says, I already know that. And I need to tell you this. Please listen to me. Your pride will stop you from growing. Your pride will stop you from growing. You need to be teachable. You need to be humble enough to be teachable. Now, this is how you become teachable. It's either through experience or it's either through instruction. And here's the thing about those two things. Instruction could be education, books, or whatever, right? Here's the thing about those two things. Both experience and instruction are outside of yourself, right? I'm going to keep talking about this because I need to get out of your mind the idea that you think that it's me, myself, and I'm going to be able to bring out everything that needs to come out. And here's the thing. Though you may use experience to get everything that comes out, but you do realize that book you're reading is somebody who took time to put into writing what's on their mind to help you get out what's inside of you. So even the book you're reading, even though even though you're helping yourself, so the whole self-help thing, right? Even though you're helping yourself to grow and all of that, which is, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm saying that is actually really, really good. But I'm trying to get you to realize that the book is outside of yourself. You cannot sit by yourself and be like, okay, what else can I learn? What else can I learn? What else can I learn? And even if you meditate, even if you are spiritual and you rely on dreams, you do realize that it is something outside of yourself. You know, Christians rely on the Holy Spirit to teach them, right? That's how they grow, right? Even the Holy Spirit itself is something outside of themselves. Even when they read the Bible, it's outside of themselves. Whatever book you read, it's outside of yourself. So I'm just trying to make it clear to you that it takes humility for you to be teachable. All right? And I am telling you, there is something about, because I just spoke about experience and having your own experience, but the thing about instruction, whether it's from the books or whether from a mentor, I need to tell you, instruction will save you time. I'm talking about reading the right books, having a mentor, getting some coaching, learning from other people's mistakes. Let me touch on that for a second, because when you rely on your own experiences, you are growing, but it's actually a very slow growth. One thing you need to realize, people, we don't have long here on earth. You know, if I look back at my life, I'm actually only turning 30 in the next month. But here's the thing. Life is short. Another 30 years from now, I'm going to be 60. And then 30 years after that, I'm going to be 90. Like time flies. For me, I feel like I've just started my life and it's been 30 years. So literally, I've just started my life. And 30 years is a very short time. So time is very short. So there are certain things that it took me 30 years to learn. And if I would have gotten a mentor, if I would have gotten somebody to give me instruction and learn from their own mistakes, imagine saving 30 years of learning by learning from somebody else's mistake. If I had done that, I would have focused that time doing something else, you know. So, man, I need to tell you, instruction will save you time. So though you want to learn from experience, but I am telling you, a better way to learn is instruction. Let me tell you that again. Though it's good to learn from experience, meaning I'm just going to go on and do it by myself, read the books and see which books that I figure out what books to read all by myself, and all of that. Experience is great. But I am telling you, instruction will save you time. So get instruction. The best way to grow fast. The difference between somebody who grows very slow and the difference between somebody who grows very fast is the person who's growing very slow is learning from experience. And the person who's growing fast is learning from instruction. Oh my goodness. I don't know, man. I need to learn how to articulate. I need to learn how to like just get this into you, because this is really, really important. I'm trying my best to articulate this, and I feel like I haven't really, pushed it. Let me say that again. I want to stay here for a second. Instruction will save you time. But experience is just this slow growth. Because yes, you're learning from your own experiences. But when you learn from instruction, there is somebody who has been where you already want to get to, and they're just going to lift your hand and pick you up because you're learning from their mistakes. I am telling you, my friend, there is a lot to learn in life. One thing that I realize is that there's just so many categories of growth. So many categories of growth. You've got your relationships. You've got your marriage. You've got your business. And in the relationships category within itself is huge because you've got your relationship with your sister, the relationship with your brother, that's your brothers. That's like two completely different things, and you need to grow in those areas. You've got your relationship with your mother, which is totally different to your relationship with your father. You've got your relationships with your friend. And then you've got your relationship with your friend who's married and your relationship with your friend who's not married. You've got, there is just so much to learn, so many categories. The relationship category, it is so huge within itself. And you've got business, which is so huge within itself, because in business, you got to learn finance, you got to learn marketing, you got to learn how to produce, how to execute, how to grow. You got to learn sales, you got to learn all of these things. And these are areas of growth that you have to keep lifting the lead. And I realized sometimes when what you focus on is what you grow in. So if you spend 20 years growing your business, you will be successful in that area. But there are people who are successful in business, but they're not successful in relationships. And though you think, I'm just going to figure out what's the most important thing, and then as long as that's growing, then I'm good. But here's the thing, my friend. Here's the kicker, ladies and gentlemen. Every one of those categories affects each other one. So if the area in your business is going well, but the area in your family, the category of your family is not going well, I'm telling you the truth, it is going to affect your business. If the area of your family is not going well, the family within itself will drag your business down. Or let me say this. Let me rephrase. If you're not growing within your family, if you're not growing your family life, if you're not growing, or if you're not teachable in that area and you're not growing, and you're trying to grow your business level to level, you will get where you need to get to, but it's going to be dragged because the areas that you are not working on will drag you down. Though you may feel like you're successful, but you're going to fall. I don't know if that makes sense. Because you're trying to build something, and there's all these areas that are like, you need to work on me, you need to work on me, you need to work on me, you need to work on me. This is why you need instruction. Because if you rely on experience with that type of dynamic, you are going to end up failing. You may have a season of success in business, but I'm telling you, when your family falls, all of that is going to fall with it. Does that make sense? So you need instruction. You need instruction. Let me end this by saying just a little quote. Teachable people borrow wisdom instead of paying the full price for every mistake. Let me say that again. Teachable people borrow wisdom instead of paying the full price for every mistake that they make. So, be teachable. Though you're going to get where you're going with this slow thing by experience, make sure you always find a way to seek instruction. So who's your mentor? Who's your teacher? Who are you learning from who is teaching you and growing you in areas that you don't even have to experience before you learn the wisdom out of it? And I'm telling you, somebody who has been there, done that, and they watch you work on your business and neglect your family and other categories that you need to grow in, they will see that and give you instruction. I am telling you, there is something about instruction, my friends. Make sure you find somebody who speaks into your life. Make sure you do that. All right? My ImagineX family, please find somebody who speaks into your life so you can learn from their mistake. Let me say it again. Teachable people borrow wisdom instead of paying the full price for every mistake that they make. All right, so let's breathe for a second. Let's jump onto something else. What are the signs that someone is teachable? I wanna help you see or realize whether you are teachable or not. This is gonna be good for me because I need to be able to check whether I'm teachable or not. I know I might go all over the place, but let me say this before I move on. I might have not finished what I said earlier. You need to make sure that you grow in every area. There's a level of growth in every area of your life. And I know it might sound like it's a lot to manage, but the way you deal with that is find instruction. Okay? You find instruction and you'll be able to know how to deal with that. One thing that I'm going to be doing is mentoring. I'm going to be coaching people. So if you are interested in my services, if you're interested in speaking with me and, for us to walk together through some of the things that I've learned, and I know that you might think, oh, what has this guy got to teach me? There's an area in that spectrum of things that I may be able to help you with. And I'm not the know-it-all about everything. There's areas that I may be able to help you. So if you want to work with me, make sure you reach out through ImagineX and all of our platforms, and we'll be able to have a conversation with you. So anyways, that's a little sales right there. So let's talk about the signs that someone is teachable. First thing is they ask questions. You need to always be curious. Whether or not it's an area of your expertise or not, you will never arrive, my friend. There is no limit to what you can learn in whatever industry, whatever area of expertise. There is no limit to what you can learn. So curiosity is a sign that you are growing. There's these little things that we call caps. You're now at a 2 and you reach to a 3, you reach to a 4 and you cap to that. And then to jump from each cap, it takes curiosity. Ask questions. Teachable people are always asking 3 questions. They're always asking, how can I improve? They're always asking, what can I learn? And they're always asking, what did I miss? How can I improve? What can I learn? And what did I miss? That's the questions that teachable people ask. You're always curious. Like, yes, this is an area of growth for me. I mean, this is an area of gifting and talent and expertise for me. But how can I improve? I want to know, how can I improve in this area? Man, I know when somebody gives you a compliment that you're good at something, always, it's crazy, it's stupid humility to just be like, oh, no. Say thank you, take it in, and acknowledge it and say thank you so much. In that public setting, just say thank you. But then when you got in private, then the first thing you should do is ask yourself, how can I improve? Somebody gives you a compliment, you say thank you. And then you go in the private room and say, how can I improve? Getting a compliment is not a sign that you have arrived, my friend. Getting a compliment of how well you've done a job is not a sign that you have arrived. My business friend, getting a good review is not a sign that you have arrived. Appreciate the people who give you good reviews. Say thank you. But then ask yourself, how can I improve? Maybe that could be a reminder for you. When somebody says, hey, you did such a great job in this area, and they give you a perfect review and they give you, a really good compliment, say thank you. But then go and think to yourself, how can I improve? Let the compliment be a reminder of more curiosity and say, how can I improve? The other question is, what can I learn? And the other question is, what did I miss? So a teachable person, the sign that you are teachable is that you ask questions. Never stop asking questions. And the second sign that you are teachable is that you accept correction. You accept correction. Correction is this uncomfortable thing in life, in the workplace, that really it just has a bad feeling. But let me tell you, my friend, it is necessary. Correction is necessary. A teachable person, instead of becoming defensive, they listen. They listen. And it goes back to the question thing. What did I miss? A teachable person, instead of becoming defensive, they listen. What did I miss? And basically, when somebody gives you a correction, they are essentially answering the question for you. So if you have already built your life to be curious and to always ask questions, when somebody gives you correction, essentially what's happening is they are answering the question that you always ask yourself. That is, what did I miss? If you can see correction in that lens, I'm telling you, you're going to go places. You're going to grow. You are going to grow, my friend. If you see correction as somebody doing you the favor to answer the question for you of what did I miss? So don't let correction become this like weird and awkward thing that you have with your boss. Like when your boss calls you into the office, be excited. Even if you know that it might be correction, be excited. It might be uncomfortable, but it's unnecessary. No, it is necessary. It might be uncomfortable, but it's necessary. It's needed. Correction is needed because it answers the question, what did I miss? The third sign that you are teachable is this. You apply what you learn. You apply what you learn. Here's the thing. Application to what you learn is the only thing that is going to make you grow. If you miss that aspect of teachability, you will never grow. One thing I would say for me, I'm learning now, which it took me forever to learn, is that just because something is head knowledge, it doesn't mean that you know it. It needs to come from head to conviction. And conviction, or our word is resolve, but I'll use the word conviction. To get from head knowledge to conviction, the gap in the middle is application. Application. Apply what you learn. I mean, everybody can know this example. You can read as many books about health and understand what exercise can do for you. You can read books after books and watch videos, go to seminars about healthy eating. You can learn about the benefits of doing certain exercises, the benefits of Pilates, the benefits of exercise. You can learn all of those things. But it will always be head knowledge. You will never grow. You will never build a healthy life without applying those things. So in order for you to grow, I can answer this question and say, okay, then what if I have read all these books, but I'm not growing, exponentially? The reason why you're not growing is because you know, but you don't know. And the difference is application. When you apply, that is you now exercising, and that is you now building the muscle, and growth is happening. Everything you learn, you apply. Everything you learn, you apply. So learning without application changes nothing. Oh my goodness. Learning, I wish I could really get it in you. Learning without application changes nothing. No matter how many books you read, no matter how many podcasts you listen to, no matter how many seminars you go to, no matter how many webinars you go to, learning without application changes nothing. Many people love information, but the implementation, they hate. And I think it's an area for me that honestly that I am growing in. And the perfect example is the gym again, because we talk about the gym a lot when it comes to motivation. And that is, I go to the gym and I hate the feeling of the pain that you have during the exercise and after the exercise. I hate it. It's uncomfortable. I actually hate it. But you need to start you need to get from just loving information about living right and healthy, and also love the application. Love the application as much as you love the information. I'm telling you, my friend, if you get past this, if you can get to a place in your life where you love execution, where you love application, where you love implementation more than you love the information, oh man, your life is going to change. Your life, it is going to change. There's going to be an exponential growth in your life. Try this and come back to me and tell me the effects of it. So in order for me to get the health that I need to love the pain, as much as I love knowing that living healthy is good. You know that living healthy is good, but what are you doing about it? You know that talking to your mother, calling your mother at least once a day is good for your relationship. Why aren't you doing it? I'm actually looking at myself with that one. You know you need to apply these things in these areas. Why aren't you doing it? The only thing that's holding you back, though you know how to market, though you know how to do social media, like you keep asking yourself, like, I know how to do all of these things. I'm really gifted in these things, but why ain't I making it in life? I know how to sing. Why ain't I making it in life? Why ain't I on world stages? The difference is application, implementation. The difference between somebody who's started a YouTube channel and have boomed and made it is they knew that YouTube is good, but they loved the application more than the knowledge. All right? All right. And the thing about that is consistency. Never stop applying. The truth is always there. If I stop going to the gym for 3 months, the fact that it's good for me to exercise, that truth is always consistent. Knowledge and information is always consistent. And you need to get your application to the same level of consistency. When you stop for 3 months, that fact doesn't stop. Whoo, man. When you stop going to the gym for 3 months, the fact that exercise is good for you doesn't stop. Facts will just always stay consistent. That's just a fact. That's just the truth. But you need to get your application, your implementation on the same level as that truth. It doesn't change. When you apply, the facts still remain the same. When you don't apply, the fact still remains the same. So now when you stop, you're going to go back to an unhealthy body, and then you're like, man, the gym doesn't work. No. You stopped working. Information stays the same. Your application has to match it. All right? Easy. The next sign that you are teachable is this. You stay humble. Oh my goodness. Humility will take you places. Humility will take you places. Even successful people remain students. I've seen it time and time again. Even successful people remain students. You will never in your entire life, my friend, ever reach the climax of knowledge. Therefore, you need to remain humble. Whatever level you get to, you remain humble, because successful people remain students. The best leaders are lifelong learners and students. All right? That's that for you. But I want to just quickly flick through the signs that you're not teachable, because for some of you, you might be like, oh, yeah, tick, or maybe one of them, especially for me. But I want to show you the other side of it so that you can kind of see, you can kind of do a self-check on yourself and see where you're at, okay? So the signs that you are not teachable, here are the signs. Number 1, you always become defensive. Every correction feels like an attack. If your experience with correction is that when somebody comes to you and gives you correction, you feel like they're attacking you, you are not teachable. So please, my friend, look at that. Look at that area in your life. Let that area be an area of growth for you, an area of learning for you. Because what happens when you feel like when somebody corrects you and then you feel like you're being attacked, you spend more time defending yourself than improving. I was talking. I did a video when I was younger, and I was talking to my viewers on YouTube, and I did a video called "How to Deal with Your Haters." I think it was the first video I ever did. How to deal with your haters, right? And I was talking about people who may bring correction, but they bring correction because they don't like you. So even haters who bring correction, still don't be defensive. Because even when somebody's a hater and they are correcting you or they are somewhat criticizing what you do and what not, man, the best thing you can do for yourself is don't be defensive. Don't just feel attacked. I mean, it is an attack and it's genuine. What you feel is genuine. But always find, like, throughout all that rubbish they're talking, always find what can I learn from this? What are they actually saying? There must be for somebody to look at something and examine my work and criticize it. There must be something that I could learn from this. So, my friend, even if it's a criticizer, even if it's a hater, whether if somebody who loves you, whether it's somebody who hates you, don't become defensive. Every correction may feel like an attack, but you need to spend more time improving than trying to defend yourself. That is why when a hater is putting videos together attacking you, why do you need to respond to that? Take the learning from it that you need and then move on with your life. Because somebody who feels like correction is an attack, the next thing they would do is go on YouTube again themselves and start defending themselves and what. No. You don't need to do that. Take what you need to learn from that and just move on with your life. So, yeah. A sign that someone is not teachable is that they are defensive. Another sign that you're not teachable is that you blame others. Normally with people like this, nothing is their responsibility. Everything is someone else's fault. They avoid growth. And I'm telling you, it is going to be uncomfortable when you're growing. It's going to be uncomfortable. But let me tell you this. Love improvement more than you love your own comfort. And if you can do that, you always take responsibility. Regardless, even like one thing I've learned even about relationships, it doesn't matter how somebody spoke to you. It doesn't matter what tone they told you what they were telling you. It doesn't matter if your boss is lashing out at you and it doesn't matter if your wife or your husband or your kids are No, take responsibility. It doesn't matter their tone. It doesn't matter how they delivered, their correction. No. Make sure that you don't blame others. Take responsibility. Take responsibility. Take responsibility. Another sign that you're not teachable is you only listen to what you like. You always accept praise, but you reject correction. You listen to what you like. Nah. Don't just love compliments. Love correction. Love correction. Be a person who seeks correction, who goes and looks out for correction. As much as you go and look out for compliments and validation and all of that, make sure you love correction the same way. All right? Make sure you do that. So, as I kind of start closing, I wanted to talk about the idea of your gift being trained. This is like everything we've just spoken about up to this point. We're talking about the areas that you need to improve in, right? But there are people here who may be gifted in a specific area, but you might believe that your gift is enough. But let me tell you, a gift is just the beginning. It's not the end. When you are given a gift or a talent, it's just the beginning. I can tell you that any singer who is on the world stage, though they might be naturally talented, I can guarantee you that they have a voice coach. And that voice coach is not on world stages, but that singer understands that the gifting within itself is only the beginning. A gift is an introduction, but training that gift is what will sustain it. Let me say that again. A gift is an introduction. It introduces you to the world. Oh yeah, you've got a beautiful singing voice. Yes. But training that gift is what's going to sustain it. So my friend, so you may be talented in a specific area. You might be a great graphics designer. You may be a great business person. You may be a great whatever. But are you sure that your gifting alone or your talent alone will sustain you? So what sustains a gift? It's training. A gift is not the finished product. Your voice might sound like a finished product, but it's not going to be a product for long. Don't mind my sarcasm, but that's true. Your talent, your skill level, your skill set might be or might sound like a finished product right now. You might be a great graphics designer and you feel like I have arrived. But if you do not train it, it is not going to be a finished product for long. You are going to lose your gift. A gift basically just, if you're gifted, my friend, it just simply means potential. The world is your oyster. But development and training and instruction is what sustains your gift. Once a gift is handed over to you, it needs to be refined, it needs to be trained, it needs to be corrected, it needs to be practiced. I am telling you, your gifting is not the end product. It is just seed to get you started. Because when, we have a specific, skill set that, like we are praised for, we think, oh yeah, I have arrived. I'm the greatest singer, or I'm the greatest business person, or I'm the greatest developer. But you get that compliment and you receive it, but you're not going to be that great for long. If a gifting was a finished product, then athletes would not need to train every morning if their gift is the end. So if an athlete has to wake up early every single morning to sustain their gift, who are you to think that you don't need training to sustain your gift? And whatever gift that might be. Yeah. Who are you to think that you don't need? It must be trained. It must be trained. And this is why teachability, it's going to determine how far you go with your gift. Two people can have the same talent. And then one might say, oh yeah, I'm already good. And the other one say, how can I improve? Oh man, I'm telling you, that first person is not going anywhere. They may go places, but it's not going to be sustained. They'll crash. But the person who says, how can I improve? They'll just keep rising and rising and rising. Man, I'm telling you, with those two people, if you look in hindsight or 10 years later, the results are going to look different. They might have the exact same gift, but the results are going to look different because one asks themselves or tells themselves, I'm already good. And the other one says, how can I improve? Hey, man, I'm telling you, you need to understanding that training never ends. The best people never stop learning. Like, you need to understand that. You never stop learning. There is no end to what you can learn. There is no end to what you can learn, my friend. Every athlete has a coach. Every musician still practices. Every leader still reads and learns and has mentors and continues to learn. So the moment you stop training your gift, it is the moment your growth stops. And then what happens when your growth stops? Going backwards. And then you just lose it. There's a Bible verse that says, fan into flame the gift of God. Each one of us have a gift. Fan into flame. You need to maintain it. You need to grow. Your gift might come from God, but your development is your responsibility. It's your responsibility. So, what are you learning? What are you learning? So, and I know I've generalized everything today, but with ImagineX, I just want to speak to my ImagineX people, to my ImagineX cohorts. Man, good leaders, I need to tell you this, good leaders remain students. Every great entrepreneur knows that though I've arrived at this level, there's another level to jump to, and you adapt and you grow. And a good leader also knows the markets may change, technology may change, and opportunity may change, which is why you always consistently keep growing. I have just found a new friend. I think he's in his 60s. And what has inspired me about him is that he's in his 60s and he's just about, he's a millionaire. He's done stuff and made so much money. And he's just about to start a new project. And I think to myself, man, and this project, he started talking about AI and how he wants to implement and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, man, this is amazing because technology may change. But a teachable person knows that because these things change, I need to always grow, always be teachable. When you as a leader, you refuse to learn, your organization is going to stay stagnant. And this issue of comfort, don't get comfortable. Don't get comfortable with stagnant. Don't. Just because you're paying the bills, just because, you're not losing clients, everything is just, you made the same, revenue as last year. Don't be okay with that. Grow. The reason why financial growth or your money, then that number, jumping from 1.5 million to 2.5 is important. It's not because money is important like that. No, it's because it's a sign of growth. Because to jump from 1.5 one year to 2.5 and the next year, there's a level of learning, there's a level of growth that has happened there. So it's not about numbers. It's just a little gauge to see how you're going with your growth. How is your growth? So if you're going to be really good at something, if you want to master something, like I know that I mentioned earlier, there's just so many different categories of growth that you need to make sure that it stays consistently growing. But if you were to forget about all of that, and there was one thing that you need to grow in and learn, is that the best leaders are the best learners. So if you become the best learner, all of these things start to rise because it's natural. All you want to do is learn. You don't want to stay stagnant. And some businesses fail not because the idea was bad. It fails because you refuse to listen. Like, you refuse to listen to feedback. You refuse to adapt. You refuse to improve your systems. That is why. And the reason why is because you were not teachable. You were not teachable. So, teachability. I hope you've learned something today. And I hope that there's some things you're going to be able to take away with this. But let me finish with this: how to become more teachable. I'll just give you just a list of practical steps. Number one, admit that you don't know everything. That's number one. Just admit it. I'm telling you, humility will open doors like it's nothing. Humility will open doors everywhere. So admit that you don't know everything. Number two, seek mentors. Seek to be coached. Seek to be instructed. Find people who have arrived where you have. And another thing I'll say just quickly, it's not just about finding people who have arrived. Find people who are below you as well. Learn from a child. Learn from everybody. Learn from your friends. The advice your friend will give you, the advice your mentor will give you, and the advice a child or somebody who has made so many mistakes to even reach where you are, man, all of those things are things for you to learn. So seek mentors, ask questions, learn from their experience. Number three, listen more than you speak. That's a big one. Listen more than you speak. You don't get wise from speaking too much about what you know. You get wise from listening. Just listen. When you go and meet with your mentor, ask questions. Ask questions and listen more than you speak. The fourth way to be teachable is apply what you learn quickly. Apply what you learn quickly. We've already spoken about this. I'm just giving you what's the word? Conclusion about this. Apply what you learn quickly. Knowledge within itself is not enough. You gotta, you gotta apply. Application is the power. We spoke about faith the other episode. We spoke about faith, and it says faith without works is dead. So faith is the application. You can have the knowledge, but faith becomes the power. And power, it's when what you know is applied. I think that makes sense. All right. The last one is welcome correction. Correction will always improve you. So make sure that you don't defend yourself. Don't avoid correction. Because when you avoid correction, you're going to avoid growth. You're not going to grow. So, yeah. So, let me ask you a question. Who is teaching you right now? Are you growing, or are you just repeating the same thing from last year? Like I said, are the numbers the same from last year, this year, or the year before, the year before? That's because you're not teachable. And when was the last time that somebody corrected you? So, here's the thing. Your future is not determined by how much you know, but it is how much you are willing to learn. And so the moment you stop learning, the moment you stop being teachable, is the moment that your growth stops. The analogy of gym again. Knowledge stays consistent. The facts stay consistent. You only grow when you align yourself with the facts. And the way you align yourself with the facts is application. The moment you stop applying, the facts stay the same, but you stop growing. So, are you teachable? What have you learned? Please let me know in the comments. What have you learned? Give this podcast a review. We're looking forward to learning together. And I want to tell you, hey, make sure you head over to ImagineX.Africa. Book in a time with me. Let's talk about your journey. Let's talk about how we can help you grow. Because I'm telling you, when you are humble enough to go and learn, man, something happens. The place where you're at, where you're stagnant, you're just going to start rising and rising and rising and growing. And amazing things are going to start happening in your world because you have been teachable and you are applying what you have learned. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me on this episode today on Teachability. I can't believe I just spent 1 hour talking and it's just now where I need some water. But see you in the next episode. Like we get we post every Tuesday. Make sure you check it out. Come through. Check out other resources on our website. Check out our social media, ImagineX Africa, and let's achieve this goal of training and training 1 million entrepreneurs and leaders all across Africa, and seeing Africa changed, in turn the world changed. So yeah, I'm so excited for what we're working on with ImagineX. We've been building a little team together, and oh man, I'm so excited to help you, to serve you. Please let us know if there's anything that you want to talk about, or let us know if there's a guest that you'd like to have on this podcast. Let us know who is somebody in your world that is impacting you in a great way that you'd love to have here on this podcast for a conversation. So I'm so excited. Comment below, let us know, let's chat, send us an email, check us out on social media, subscribe to this podcast. So yeah, thank you so much. I'm David, asking you, are you a doer or a dreamer? Or maybe it might be time for you to do both. See you on the next episode.